Are we going to?
Yeah, we got our five.
Okay, all right.
Call to order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open Public Meetings Act statement. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Augusta, Branchville, Lafayette, and Sussex post offices, and notice sent to the New Jersey Herald, Star Ledger, and the clerk of the boroughs of Branchville and Sussex and the townships of Frankfort, Lafayette, and Wantage. Mission statement. High Point Regional High School, in partnership with staff, family, and communities dedicated to the quest for individual excellence. By fostering high standards of achievement, we prepare students to become responsible and productive members of a diverse society. Roll call.
Mr. Rowland is not here, Ms. Keller is not here, Mr. Kehoe,
Present.
Mr. Dunn,
Here.
Mr. Voiq is not here, Mr. Miller is not here, Mr. Ancliffe,
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Veely,
Here.
Dr. Ripley.
Here.
Okay. Executive session. A motion will be made. The High Point Regional High School Board of Education enter executive session to provide an update on personnel, legal, and negotiations items which were exempt from public participation pursuant to New Jersey Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Any discussions held by the board which need not remain confidential will be made public when appropriate. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene in public session in the cafeteria annex at the conclusion of the executive session. Seeking motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Need a motion to return to public session?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll move on to unfinished business. We don't have any on the agenda. Anybody have anything? No? Approval of minutes, regular meeting minutes of May 23rd, 2017. The executive session minutes of May 23rd, 2017. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion on those minutes? All right, roll call.
Mr. Rowland? Yes. Mr. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ancliffe?
Yes.
Mr. Veely?
Yes. Public comments. We now open the floor for public comments on agenda items. If you have comments, step to the podium, state your name and address. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, we will open the public comments for agenda items only at this time. Each speaker should state his or her name and address. You have 3 minutes to address us, which will be timed by the meeting. We'll limit this section to no more than 45 minutes. Please be respectful. Non-political comments are being recorded. Public comment? Okay, move on to presentation.
Good evening. Good evening. One of our goals this year is to increase cross-curricular projects and interaction. And we've mentioned this group several times in the past year. 3 of our outstanding teachers, Alex Gonzalez from technology, Rebecca Sarno from biology, and Ann Yacarino from algebra, piloted a program. They spent a week last summer in South Jersey training to develop units of integrated study where these 3 disciplines work together to do a common project. Last week, Mr. Townley and I and several administrators and teachers and people throughout the building were invited to the Media Center where these 3 teachers had all of their students present a real-world problem-solving project that integrated all 3 subjects. And one of those projects was particularly outstanding. And we have 3 students here this evening. But first I want to mention or introduce their teachers. 2 of them are here, Ms. Ann Yacarino and Mrs. Rebecca Sarno. You can come on up. I also have a slide from the 5th Congressional District because our new congressman. The 5th Congressional District has been extremely supportive of High Point for many years, awarding us with the blue ribbon. Of course, Representative Garrett was an alum, and Congressman Gottheimer has a particular interest in STEM education. So they've been aware of our success, and Mr. DeVillers from their office came to our event back in March, and they awarded us with a certificate of recognition, and so their support is very much appreciated. And I'm going to turn it over to our teachers.
I'd like to, I'm Rebecca Sarno, this is Anna Carino, and Alex Gonzalez was not able to be with us tonight, but we'd like to thank you for having us this evening to share what our students had done throughout the school year. It was a really big feat for them to all come together. There were 60 students all together, and for them to all come together and come up with these projects. The problem that we had given them is the transportation problem in Sussex County. So they were to come up with solutions on how to get out of the county without hitting as much traffic as possible, which you know is all too well how hard that can be. So they were to come up with ideas, ways to get out, and then come up with a final project, which ended up to be a video. So the students, like Mr. Campbell had mentioned, there were 4 students altogether that came up with what we thought was the epitome of what we were looking for. They came up with a really great video and a really great solution. And so we invited them here tonight to share their project with you. And so they are Madison Crisanda, Isabella So, Caroline Reese are all here. And Ben Keel, he's actually on vacation, so he was not able to be here. But the 4 of them worked really hard on this. So I'm gonna turn it over to them.
I'm Isabella So. I'm from Algebra 1. This is Madison. She is from Biotech. And this is Caroline. She is from Biology. So we are here to present to you guys our idea of changing Sussex County.
We worked on this for about 3 months together from each individual classes that we had, and we came up together to create an idea on how to change it because it's a really big problem where we are.
So after we had our idea, we took about a month to compile the video you're about to see with footage. We went on locations and tried to really show where we were talking about. So please enjoy our idea. Changing Sussex County isn't easy. It's a big task.
When asked to look around where we live, a big problem is transportation and how people commute to their jobs.
What if it didn't have to be such a problem anymore?
What if we had the answer?
A monorail.
They're fast and clean,
And with this already existing traffic, there is no reason in not doing this.
290 to 324 Lafayette Road, Sparta Township to 2 Union Street, Riverdale.
The track is right there and runs through Sussex County. It's already there. That mentioned it's already there.
The monorail won't need tunnels. It will be constructed right over the existing train tracks.
Very little real estate needs to be purchased. A single monorail costs somewhat less than a light rail.
So what's so great about this?
Since the track is already existing, we will not be putting down massive amounts of nature life. And now the track not only will carry cargo below it with trains, but with people on top. Right there, that's killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
When calculating costs, you're really only looking at the monorail itself and its station in Riverdale to drop off people since it's not only unloading cargo.
And it just so happens there's a place right across of land where the station can be constructed and not damage wildlife. Doesn't that work out nicely?
So final cost about $25 million per mile. So about $850 million over the 34 miles of track.
Transportation around Sussex County is a growing problem that needs some thought on how to change it. That's why we believe this is the way to go.
Determined in Sussex County, New Jersey, 144,450 people live below the poverty line. Preferred secondary means of transportation to work for Sussex County, New Jersey.
Keeping this in mind, the monorail has so many benefits. roads.
It's already over an existing track, therefore we don't have to cut down or harm the environment.
Monorails are very cost efficient for the commuters, which suits the population.
Since it's right near 80, commuters are close and don't need to travel far to get to the monorail itself.
And building the small station to depart passengers from is low cost since the land is already open.
Let's fix this problem.
Let's help the commuters.
Let's change social capital.
Can I ask a question? How did you guys get together to spend time? Yeah, right. Here, I'll stand up there. How did you guys get together to spend time together to do this kind of, do it after school?
Well, we got the footage out of school because we have to go around. But pretty much we worked on it once or twice a month, and then towards the end it was more frequently. And we used the IMAX in the media tech room to do this, and we used his cameras. And so it was really, we used the time together to create the script and stuff.
Where did you get the time together? Did you do unit lunchtime? Did you do
Class.
class time? In class,
Yes.
But you're all in different classes?
Yes, but it all took place the same period.
It was, yeah, we all met, it was third period, third period, the same class.
That's-
So
that's
we gave them
what
time,
I'm-
yeah, class.
Very cool, very cool. Very well done.
And then you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another question, I'm sorry. Can I get your thoughts about, did you enjoy doing this? Did you find it meaningful? Did it engage you in school on a level that perhaps you had not engaged in the past? Give me your context on that and what you thought about this as a meaningful activity.
Well, I think I really enjoyed it because it was something different rather than just an everyday school day. We could come together and like actually create an idea. That is a problem here where it's our inputs on it. Because most of the time we don't really have an input on how it is. I mean, we can't drive yet, but eventually we can change that for everyone.
And plus, since we're all in different classes, we all brought something new to like, the table. So it wasn't just like we were all in one class, all learning the same things. It was so unique what we all were learning individually to bring together. We did.
So you believe that this type of activity was very meaningful to you and it is something from which you learned quite a bit?
Yes.
And maybe inspired you and engaged you in school in a way that maybe had not been in the past?
Absolutely.
And you would do it again if the opportunity
Yes.
came up again?
Fantastic.
I think Mrs. Anderson, I think your question hit on a central theme was that it required flexibility on the part of the teachers to take advantage of the fact that they had this common period and to do this. And more of our teachers are embracing the fact that periods don't necessarily have to be this, the boundaries that maybe they once were. So kudos to you guys for your flexibility.
Cross-curricular is something that you talked about, but this is proof positive on how well you can do that. It's great. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't wait to wrap that up.
Do you want to finish or do you want me to move?
I thought if we would just keep going in the order with HBA, if that's.
Do it if you would.
How are you? Okay, this past month, Joan Smith and the MCI class performed a very successful show called Kicking Country on June 2nd in the High Point Auditorium in front of a standing room only audience of friends, students, families, and community members. For the 4th year, High Point worked with peers from Kittatinny Regional to participate in the musical performance. Then they took their show on the road to perform at Kittatinny on June 6th. The students were featured in an article in the Advertiser News. At the end of the year, and I know Debbie, you were at it. It was great.
That show was
It made me cry. Like
it was so fun.
It was so much fun, and they were so cute, and they loved it so
And
much.
the student body, there was a ton of kids there.
Yeah.
The auditorium was packed, so it was
We
great.
had a lot of fun.
Great.
At the end of the year retirement luncheon, Jill Catterman won the Educational Support Professional of the Year Award. April Fick won the Educational Support Professional Career Achievement Award. Brian Emma won the Governor's Educator of the Year Award. Maggie Meyer won the Governor's Education Specialist of the Year Award. Melanie LaTrenta won the Arthur R. Smith Award. Joy Carter won the Robert J. Godfrey Commitment to Excellence Award. Lots of awards at the luncheon. It was a nice day. We had a successful end of our year, and the graduation went well. Margie Havens and Kirsten Sabo completed their roles as senior class advisors last night with a fun-filled project graduation. The union looks forward to resting this summer and coming back strong in September. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy vacation.
Thank you so much.
And happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Christine. And thank you all so much for engaging our kids in this meaningful, progressive, student-centered vision of education. I thank you.
You're all good. It was great. We really enjoyed it. Yeah, we're planning on doing it again next year. So, so it was good.
I'm standing up so I can see you
Oh,
guys.
sorry.
That's all right. Stay where I also, and I didn't think of this and they've left, for them, those young women to get up and speak at the board meeting was wonderful, and they did such a nice job, and
They were very nervous.
well, I can understand that.
Yeah.
But the fact that they did it so beautifully, and you're not going to see them again, but somehow if you can commend them and say how much, as Scott Ripley just said, thanks for bringing them out here, but the fact that they did we get presenters that don't do that well.
And
So-
two of the girls were freshmen, by the way.
Oh my
Now,
gosh!
2 freshmen and then 2.
They were amazing, they were great, so thanks again for doing this.
Oh, our pleasure. Thank you very much.
Principal's report, Mr. Tell.
Thank you, Billy. I'd like to say again for Ann, Becky, and Alex as well. They kind of really grew organically for them over time. They spent a lot of time in the car driving last summer, long distances. Some of the best conversations come out of those car rides when they were working on this project, and it really kind of grew from there. To see all the students together a couple weeks ago in the media center, last week at the media center, it was just amazing to see the diversity of our student body and the learnings that we have here at High Point, and be able to have them all present. Did a great job. So kudos to that. Worked on the schedule as we talked about to try to keep that collaboration period available for that to work out. So great job, and Becky, thank you for being here. Graduation. We did have that yesterday, as those of you that were here saw. Unfortunately, the weather did not cooperate for us. Even though I ordered that way in April, didn't come through. So we had to make some adjustments along the way. But we still had a full campus, by also around 1,500 plus that were here on campus, because we were able to have alternate viewing areas in the cafeteria and also the auditorium, besides the main viewing area in the gym, which is awesome. We also live streamed it again. As you know from live stream, that's a program that's grown every single year. To give you some context, last year we had about 3,000 views for the graduate ceremony, which is our biggest event viewed ever. This year we had over 5,300 views, according to our analytics in 20 different countries. So that's that we do analyze those events every single time, and graduation seems to be overwhelmingly supported throughout the community and also different parts of the
Is there a big screen in that room too?
Yeah, yes, Ms. Anderson. We have a big screen that we have down in that room, which was air conditioned, able to be viewed in there. And we had the big screen down in the auditorium.
I
Yep.
saw that, which was
Yep.
so impressive,
Yep.
so impressive. And now we're sitting.
Both of those, yeah, we had this. This is all part of our plan in the last 3 years that we've integrated these AV systems that not only allow us to do the presentations like Mr. Campbell has up currently and the ladies did, but also to do our big ultimate viewing areas that we have, big events, overflow areas for that. So that works out well, that people know that they can still come and be in an area that's going to be comfortable, for that. So that worked out well. We had project graduation last night, finished up early this morning. About 150 seniors overall for that. A great night. Mrs. Havens and Mrs. Sabo did a great job coordinating that. So many people, too many to list, because I don't want to miss anybody, but so many people that were there. Thank you specifically to all the administrators, Amy and Eric were there as well throughout the night, and just keeping things together, as we say. The students had a really good time and enjoyed that last blast, as we call it, coming together as a class. So it was really great. Thank you so many others for their team effort. Again, Mrs. Brummel, the maintenance crew, custodial crew, security crew, everybody in between for the graduation ceremony, because when you have to do an event like that, it's an orchestration, and it starts in the beginning of the school year and goes right on through. So without everybody's assistance with that, between the parking and the AV support, the custodial and maintenance and ground support, it would not be able to be done. So thank you to everybody for that. So real quick, end of school year reflections. We continue to use a survey system throughout the year. We gather that feedback, we send that to students and also to staff. We look at that feedback several times throughout the year, analyze that, and use that to kind of drive and talk about, informed instruction, data-driven instruction. This is data-driven instruction in terms of the larger population. So we look at that regularly. We just send those out again at the end of the year for both students and staff. We'll look at that over the summer and make adjustments as we need to. Block schedule review, a lot of analysis spent on that over the course of time, and we'll look at that again moving into next year as we've completed our first full year. So many things that we learned and have grown together on. We're very happy about, appreciative of the staff, and there's 4 of them here in different disciplines tonight, their flexibility and growth throughout the year. And we always say no matter how much work, and I know Ms. Anderson's been part of that with the SSTF, how much work you put in ahead of time when you go to other districts, when you look at other schools, that's how the schedule works in their school. Until you actually have it in your school and work through it for a year, now you know what it feels like, what it looks like in your school. So everything going to September was on paper, as we say, and now we've kind of lived it a little bit, the goods and the bads and the valleys and the peaks as well. So it's a good growth period to look forward to, and improving that more for next year based on a lot of feedback. A little update on some technology aspect of it. Genesis, which is our student management system, or student information system. You sometimes see the SIS, student information system. We've gone to that this year, another transition that we don't want to forget about, but a huge transition for us this year, also with Block. We are going to a completely paperless environment as much as possible. We've been trying to reduce mailings a lot over the last several years. We have done that, and as most districts that have Genesis and similar platforms, able to go more and more digital, more and more electronic types of forms. So I want to give kudos to Ms. Lembo. She's coordinated most of that, a lot of that behind the scenes, athletic forms, which have been ordered, and Mrs. Zeitz, nurse medical forms, main office student forms, things that we always would hand out on paper, get back on a paper, data entry into the computer, and then file the paper. We're now doing differently. We always have a way to, a mechanism in place. If somebody does not have a computer, doesn't have internet access, we have ways around that as well. But this is a direction that allows for much more efficiency and much more better reporting out of our system. So looking forward to that for the first year. A lot of communication will take place this summer to the parents as we're transitioning to that, especially for athletics and for the medical forms as well. So thank you to Mrs. Lembo for coordinating that. And the master schedule, the teachers have tentative schedule. They had that in place the first week in June. That was our target. We hit that. And then we're looking to have the student schedules released in the first week of July. And then we'll continue to work on them as we get data throughout the summer for park testing and different things like that that will change schedules here and there. We look to have a clean opening in September with our master schedule. Any questions on any of those things or anything else? And I just want to say to the staff in closing, Brandon, Mr. Norton, I know we got 4 of you that are here. Great year, fantastic year, a lot of growth. I know I grew a lot myself as an administrator, and I said at graduation, but I really enjoy walking alongside the staff that we have every single day, and the students. You just heard from Maddie, Isabella, and it's just unbelievable what they do every single day. Just, to hear that from 2 ninth graders and also a sophomore is quite impressive, and that's what we get to see every day. So we're much blessed. Right? Mr. Van Orden has the athletic report, which if I can hand over to him. Is that okay?
Mr. Town, I just want to tell you don't, I have too much to say.
That's all right.
It has been a great year, and I keep watching the videos on Facebook and all the cool things that you guys are doing here, and I'm just so impressed with everything you've been doing. It's been amazing. The block schedule thing that you talked about, amazing. Seamus Campbell is always running these fabulous curriculum things that he lets me in on, and you guys are just doing fabulous work, and Tyler, you're going to talk about this too. I love seeing this list. It's so great at the end of the year where you get to see everything come together, and this is what we did this year. Isn't it fabulous? Yep. From the one little kid who wasn't happy to come to school, who's like, can't wait to come back next year, to all the other great things that happened. So thank you, because it's a lot of hard work, and I appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Talbot.
Thanks, sir.
Good evening. Thanks again for having me here tonight. As you see in front of you, everybody has a copy of our year-end athletic report. You know, you can feel free to peruse that, you know, through your own time. I know there's a lot in there you can go through. I just want to touch up on a few things that I really think were really important. If you look halfway or almost 3/4 of the way down on the second page, our Hall of Fame Athletic Awards Night took place on June 1st at 6 p.m. at the Lafayette House. We had 2 new inductees, Shannon Gill and Scott Clausen from classes of 2003 and 2004 respectively. And I thought it was a great night. We were done in about 2 hours and 20 minutes, and we were able to recognize our MVPs from all of our sports as well that night. And 5 years running strong since I started here. We brought it back, and it's been running itself. It really is. It's a great event. It's a great night. So again, thank you everybody that showed up and were able to participate as well. A few other things that we had going on throughout the course of the year. We had National Women and Girls in Sports Day, which is something that's run by the NJSIAA. We were to send our representative, was Jordan Martin, on January 29th at Seton Hall University. Passed along Scholar Athlete this year, which used to be the United Way Scholar Athlete. Passed along, took it over a couple years ago, was Dakota Voigtku. That dinner was March 23rd at Corona Farms. Morris County Football Foundation Scholar Athlete Award, which is something that's been awarded to one of our football players, a senior football player, as a Scholar Athlete. This year was Levi Brunell, which took place March 16th at the Madison Hotel. And finally, MMA Seitzma was our representative for the Scholar Athlete Award given out by the NJSIAA, and that was held at the Pines Manor on May 21st. So over 400 student athletes from the state were honored that day. I believe there were about 1,700 people in attendance. So that's always a great event that's held every year. Our athletic participation, I go through, and every single season we need to list our numbers and send them to the state, our participation. Fall, winter, and spring are broken down, and you can see, you know, our larger participation numbers were in the fall and the spring at 28% and 38% respectively. 38% is unheard of. Usually you get numbers around 30 or 32% for the spring, but that 38% of our student athletes participating really is an incredible number. It really says a lot about our student athletes. The wintertime, you look at 19%, you may say, you know, why are we down so much in the wintertime? I've noticed, you know, the trend is you do have less student athletes for the most part participating in the winter. I really don't know why there's a trend. But I think that explains why we co-op with Wallkill Valley in 3 winter sports, skiing, swimming, and ice hockey. That brings our numbers up, if you include Wallkill Valley's numbers, it brings it up to about 23 or 24%, which puts us right in the mix of where we're looking to be for our student athletes. So I think that answers the question, why are we co-oping with Wallkill, and it definitely falls in line. It helps bring up those participation numbers, and with lower numbers, we're seeing across the board, especially sports like ice hockey, which is not a cheap sport, and most schools do not fund it completely, so the burden is on the parents and student athlete. Those numbers are down a lot in a lot of schools, which is why you see the growing trend is you have more co-ops in ice hockey. And that's something that the state has also allowed tri-ops, where they're letting 3 schools combine to participate in ice hockey, just to keep the sport growing and to keep. You know what, when it's all said and done, it's about giving kids an opportunity to participate. And I think the state did a great job, allowing those as well. 2 things I want to also touch upon before I wrap things up. We had 2 teams who won a trifecta this past year. What I mean that is we had 2 teams that won 3 championships in one season. So our girls basketball team were Freedom Division champions, Hunter and Warren Sussex champions, and they were champions for the North 1 Section 1 Group 2 title as well. 3 championships in 1 year. Wrestling team did the same thing. They were Freedom Division champions, North Section 1 Group 2 champions, and they were also the District 1 champions with the new state alignment for districts. We're not in the Kittatinny district anymore. We had to go all the way up to Bergen County for the district tournament, but we ended up winning that district by about 2 points. So 2 teams winning 3 titles in the same season is pretty phenomenal. I don't know anybody else who's done that in our county. So again, kudos to our kids, coaches, parents, everybody. Just a tremendous year, tremendous year. And then finally, I just want to give you an update about our corporate sponsorship that I've been pursuing in regards to purchasing scoreboards. we've been working with local, or not a local company, a company in Ohio called Side Effects, and a gentleman named Drew Smith. He's been able to line up for us. So far we have signed, sealed, and delivered $14,952 in sponsorships from TNT Fence, Sussex County Community College, Lakeland Bank, Moorville Agency, Lakeland Pools and Spas, and Randolph Oral Surgery was the latest. So right now we have $14,952, about $5,000 away from our goal of $20,000, which would be towards scoreboards on the soccer and lacrosse fields, softball field. Those two fields don't have a scoreboard, and then we also want to replace the baseball field hockey scoreboard. So it looks like, he said, by the end of the summer, we'll have all that money, all that generated revenue set to go and get those scoreboards in place. All right? Any questions?
Will the signs for those contributors be on the scoreboards, or will they be along fences?
The signs will be on the main scoreboard in the gym. We'll have Lakeland Bank and Sussex Community College underneath it. The small scoreboard in the gym on the opposite side will have the Moorville Agency and TNT Fence. And then on the football field, wind screens along the fence. Those are the more expensive donations or sponsorships. We have Randolph Oral Surgery, TNT Fence wants to do one there as well, and Lakeland Pools. And then on the baseball field hockey scoreboard, there's space for TNT Fence to put one there as well. So, all set to go. All right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to add real quick, Mr. Norton said the Hall of Fame didn't run itself. Without Todd's leadership for that, to get it resurrected over the last 5 years, it would not be running at all. So I want to thank Todd for getting it off the ground with the committee that we meet with every year. Much appreciated. So I thank Todd for getting that back resurrected. It was not running 5 years ago. And also, Mr. Norton, we have just an update from Mr. Fenlon's academic team.
Yes, Mr. Fenlon, this afternoon.
Just got that a couple hours ago, right?
Yeah, a couple hours ago. Our boys soccer team looks like they're going to win an academic honor roll award, which is nationally recognized. So our boys soccer team from this past year, not the 17-18 year, but the 16-17 squad, will be recognized with a Scholar Athlete Award for the whole entire team. It's not just individual, it's the whole team in general. Had a GPA of 3.25 or higher.
And what was that GPA that they achieved?
The GPA, 4.2, right? 3.42.
4.2.
So
Exceeded by
that's pretty impressive. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Talmy. Thank you. And Seamus Campbell.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hello again. I want to thank Mr. Mark Wallace for getting a microphone finally working here. And I'm quite pleased that it worked so well tonight when it was most definitely needed. I kid. I do have quite a bit of information to present tonight, so I'll kind of try and go through it quickly. Mrs. Anderson, members of the board, Mr. Talame, we had a phenomenal event when the class of 67 came here. It was a real nice way to, very nice end of the year activity to bring those people here. And they are going strong. So the class of 67 is looking good. It was a great day. Very quickly, as Mr. Talame mentioned, I want to talk about the communication that we had over the past 6 weeks. We put out surveys. The HPEA sent a representative to each department to answer 3 or 4 questions. We had drop-in sessions for staff during unit lunch. And then we had, at the end of the year last week, a committee meeting where we went over all of the feedback. And we came up with a list of some things that we want to focus on and try and improve for next year. And I think we left with a great sense of it was wonderful. There are challenges, and we're going to work together to address some of those. So communication is always important, and I think around the block it was quite strong, and we're happy that it went so well. One of the aspects of our evaluation system where we use a computerized platform and a specific rubric is that we get data all the time about areas where teachers are scoring exceptionally well and areas where they can improve. Just a quick snapshot. Increasingly, more and more of our teachers are earning a high rating of 3.5 or higher, which qualifies them as highly effective. It's the same rubric. It's expected that teachers improve because our teachers are very proud of their performance. They want to get the A or the 4. And so when you teach the rubric and you explain the rubric and you make the rubric part of their mindset, it's understandable that our teachers, because they're driven to be exceptional, excel. So we have a high number of teachers at 3.5 or higher. And just a quick look at areas where our observations showed exceptional performance and room for improvement. Every classroom you walk into, almost always you see the rapport between the teacher and the students as the most striking thing. There's a warm relationship of support and nurturing. Student behavior is also stunning. Sometimes you walk through the hall and you see lively teenage activity, the bell rings, and 2 minutes later, students are on task. Teachers run a tight ship and their classrooms are very orderly. And 3C, partly because of the block and partly because of Chromebooks and because it's a focus, our students are engaged in lessons and our teachers are lecturing less as we continue to progress in this fashion. Areas for growth, we continue to focus on higher ordered open-ended questions for teachers to continue to grow in leading discussions and being open-ended in how they question rather than simple response. And so those are some areas where I think we can improve. Very quickly, we have not met since we administered Park, and it was an exceptional success. May was, in many ways, brutal. We had the biology test, the Park test, and the AP tests. Staff, teachers, students came together. It was quite successful. We've already begun planning for next year, and our preliminary plan next year is to take the 6 Park assessments, which have been given each of them in one day. So we were testing for a little over a week for 6 days and doubling up and administering 2 Park assessments per day because the overwhelming impact on our curriculum. Every month we present the phenomenal things that are happening in the classrooms, and this is a major disturbance to that. So we hope next year to condense it and have less of a disruption to curriculum. A week from today, next Tuesday, our 5th and final meeting of the year, Ms. Yacarino is part of this articulation group. Montague, Frankfurt, Sussex Wantage, Lafayette, and High Point will all be together to look at how did students perform on common assessments that these teachers developed together to try and get some uniformity to Algebra 1. It's been a great collaborative exercise. Those administrators and teachers will be here Tuesday to look at our end result and to use those assessments to guide scheduling. We want our 8th graders, we want conversations with the 8th grade teachers with common assessments to say, where will this student be most successful next year? In geometry, in Algebra 1, in an honors level, etc. So thank you to our math teachers for the great job they did with that. Also with our math teachers, Mrs. Kirsten Sabo and Mrs. Kate Panfilly. Mrs. Sabo started this last summer. We have, starting tomorrow, I'm going to guess we'll have approximately 20 students take us up on this offer, where if they failed Algebra 1 or geometry for the year, and they are within reach, if they're within reach of restoring that credit, they will be here tomorrow for summer school. This is funded through our Title I grant, and I feel as if it's money well spent. When we have groups of students here in the summer who don't want to fail for the year and have to repeat, and their parents are committed to getting them here, and our outstanding teachers are working with them teaching math, we're very pleased to commit some of our grant money towards that. So thank you to those teachers. We are required by law each year to present publicly our academic performance report. So the next few minutes I'm going to take you through some highlights of that performance report. The documents that I looked at here, and for anyone watching online, these will be available on the opening page of our website later this week, and you can dig through them at your leisure. I invite anyone who looks at them you can look at any high school in the state, compare us to anyone, and I think you'll see the outstanding product that we have presents itself. Some areas where we were exceptionally strong, some areas where we have sustained excellence. The green is areas where there's been growth. The blue is sustained excellence. And as we did last year, we established some goals of areas we'd like to improve, and I'll highlight those as we go along. But first, a check on last year's report card. When I presented this in July of 2016, we established 4 areas where we wanted to see improvement. And our improvement was striking in those 4 areas. Park participation, we went from 74% to number 1 in the county. Our biology scores improved by 50%, and I think there's someone in the room who teaches biology. I'm sorry, congratulations. Mrs. Lembo works incredibly hard administering that test this past year. These, by the way, these are not this past year's results. Sadly, there's a delay. These are the 15-16 results. But we saw a major improvement in the bio scores. I spelled Park wrong there, I apologize. Our performance has gone up. In 5 of 6 test scores, we have increased. And our AP scores have not gone up. But we're digging in on that, and some of our PD money this summer is focused on looking at school reports and trying to make improvements in those areas. Just a brief overview. I think we know that our special education population is going to be increasing over the next year, but this gives you that data. In English language arts, now here's Park. In both math and English, there are 3 math tests, 3 English tests. We improved our performance in 2 of the 3 tests in both math and English. So Park just concluded its 3rd year, and what you're seeing is steady improvement in the number of kids that pass the test. Again, mathematics, there's improvement there. Now these next few slides, I'm not going to go through each one, but these are the score reports for all 6 of the tests, which show you by subgroup that improvement that we achieved. There's our biology assessment, a 50% increase in the number of students that showed proficiency on that assessment last year. If you look at participation, we have 100% of our students now participating in the PSAT, more than half in the SAT. And our SAT mean score has increased for the 6th consecutive year. Our average at 1091 is not where we want it to be. Although it's improved every year, it remains a focal point that we'd like to see growth in. Our AP passing rate, if you see the red number of 59%, we would like to see that back up in the 70s. However, the phrase, what's wrong with a 2? If a student takes an AP course and it scores a 2, they didn't pass the test, our philosophy is that they probably worked harder and learned more than if they hadn't reached for that higher level course.
And they passed the course, they just haven't scored
Correct.
a 3, 4, or 5 to get the college credit that some universities allow.
Yes, and I should say that nationally, the AP tests are designed so approximately 50% of the students globally who take an assessment pass, 50% fail. So when you get a 2 and you fail to pass, you're still you're competing with honors students from around the world. So it's not this mark of shame, it just means you didn't excel on a college level assessment while in high school. If you look at the bottom number, it's the number I feel is most significant. The culture of the building increases as more students take rigorous courses. We have doubled the percentage of our graduates who have taken at least 1 AP course. When I used to look at this in the 90s and early 2000s, I looked at West Morris or Mendham or Westfield, and they were in the 40s, the percentage that took at least 1 AP. We've doubled that experience and sent more of our kids off to college with at least 1 of our most rigorous courses. We continue to want a well-rounded student, and we've increased the number of students that have taken at least 1 visual and performing arts class. That will be a goal again for next year. 81% of our graduates go on to a 2-year or a 4-year college, approximately half to a 4-year college. Mr. Tyler and I spoke about surveys. We would like to get better at this because we all know that one of the answers that we wish we had more data on is what percentage matriculate. How many of our students succeed in achieving a 4-year degree? And I hope that we're able to strengthen that perhaps alumni surveys could give us feedback on how we can better prepare students for success. We have a student culture that is phenomenal. Mr. Carlson and Mrs. Labrizzi do an outstanding job, and restorative practices has worked. Our suspensions are down even further for the current year. So we have redesigned. The room behind you is a storage closet, and it was only a few years ago that the room behind you, if you notice, there are posters on the windows because we didn't let the students look out the windows during internal. So if you were in significant trouble, you would have from 7:30 to 2:30 in that concrete room. It's almost embarrassing to say this. And then from 2:30 to 5:30, you would have a 3-hour detention. So the notion that we would take students who misbehave and for 10 consecutive hours during their adolescent years, put them in a concrete room, is not the same philosophy of discipline that we carry out today. So great job to our administration, our teachers.
And that number of suspensions, I just received a report from Mr. Carlson that has been reduced by more than 50% year over year from the data that we have. So an exceptional demonstration of our philosophy of restorative practices and positive behavioral intervention supports, and still maintaining the integrity of the building and relationships and positive environments is a testimony to that philosophy and the people who are implementing it every day. Excellent job.
Our graduation rate, which is something we're very proud of, that it was in the mid-80s, and we are now sustaining a graduation rate in the mid-90s, and that is everybody on deck. That's all teachers, administrators working. I would like to specifically recognize Ms. Kristen Jacobine in guidance. Our guidance department in general, but Mr. Talamay and I field emails from her weekly, where she has she's come up with a creative, flexible solution for an at-risk student. That's what we do, a creative, flexible solution for an at-risk student. Here's a young woman who moved here from Maine and has a family going through an economic hardship. It's a single-parent home. There's an economic challenge. The child needs a job. They transferred into High Point. Can we create this arrangement? You know, can we waive civics? It's an in-house requirement. Can we modify the schedule and allow an internship to cover financial literacy? Because these are 17 and 18-year-old young men and women who are willing to work towards the diploma, but they have circumstances that need us to be flexible. And so hats off to our guidance department.
And a snapshot done with the graduating cohort that graduated yesterday, which I did on Friday, was 96.3%. So someone dropped out on Monday.
We actually, Mr. Percy approached me last week. We had a 20-year-old student who recently left High Point who contacted him personally to ask if he could come back and if High Point could support him in pursuit of his GED. So one of the things perhaps we need to think about is how to direct students towards the proper social services, or to offer a plan for remediation for students who do drop out and then say, and you know what, it won't help our graduation rate, but people who know us know that we're not about the numbers. It's not a bumper sticker. It's really wanting to see kids in the community succeed. My favorite part, Mr. Talamay did an awesome job. This video was great. We lined up the whole building and we clapped out our seniors. And the looks on their faces, I have to tell you, they were emotional.
Yeah.
They were not laughing and lighthearted. They had a profound sense of a life-changing experience, which is what high school graduation is. Mr. Dexter led students through the first ever AP Computer Science course. It's the first time it ever ran nationally, so we're excited about that. Another inter-class project where our public speaking students who have come here to the board and critiqued us were invited in to critique other students' student projects, which I think is a great example. Mr. Baker wins the award for the most interesting projects that are tweeted. He's become the mad scientist where there are solar panels heating Snapple drinks and rockets going off. And you just watch the Twitter feed, it looks like it's an exciting place to be. And last but not least, hats off to our building principal, ran a tight ship, and we had a very good public showing last night, a special night for our students. So that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Kevin, I guess that the senior walkout that we did this year was an idea that I got, it was actually on Twitter. I talked to a couple of teachers about it last year as well, as they saw the same idea almost a couple days with advancing. We're going to try it next year, which is this year. When I told the class in 2017, our last rehearsal, I believe Dr. Ruby was there, he was presenting the superintendent's cup. They became very emotional because I said, I presented to them, they didn't know, it was a surprise to them, teachers knew in advance. And I said to them, it's going to be your last walk through the hallways as High Point students. And that sunk in immediately, and many of them got emotional right away as, oh my goodness, he said it was coming, and here it comes. So it was an amazing time period, and make some tweaks to do it for next year, but thank you to the staff again for being flexible with that concept and that idea.
That's great. The student who was the senior class president,
Yes.
Daniel?
Dan Banis.
Dan Banis. In his speech last night, he talked about the class of 67 coming to meet with them as being something that had such an impact on him because he realized that people from 50 years ago talked about how important this place was to them, and it's that 50 years later they want to come back and share that. And when he said, you know, let's a wildcat, always a wildcat, we knew that Mr. John Talmadge would be happy about that, but it's true. It was just such a great moment last night when he talked about the connection, and that clap out is part of that. All of that happened. So.
Seamus, on that one slide where it talked about our graduation rate, when it said that this, it was right there, the state target 81%, but the statewide percentile 60%. That means that only 60% of New Jersey students are graduating. Is that how I'm supposed to take that?
No, I believe that means that schools that are in the 60th percentile have an 81% graduation rate.
Okay.
So
I got a little nervous that
right.
education was failing us in the state at that point.
Right, so I guess 81%, then I guess you could look at it as approximately a little above average for the statewide.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I get it. Okay, thank you.
Can I just, I'm sorry, before we move on, I just noticed one of my students' names is wrong in the agenda, so I just wanted to, and I didn't notice it when you were up there, so. It's under Joseph Keel, but his name is Ben. So Joseph's his middle name, I think that's probably what happened. So I just wanted-
Ben or Benjamin?
No, it's Ben Hart, BenHart.
Okay.
So that's his first name, we'll call him Ben.
So it'll be in the minutes corrected.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure he gets recognized appropriately, so thank you. Thanks again.
Well, actually, I was asking.
Let those people go home if they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't, feel free to leave while we approve all the
Thank you very much.
Thanks, see you, brothers. See you tomorrow morning. I won't see you tomorrow morning. Or maybe the attitude. Yes.
All right, curriculum and instruction, we're accepting items 1, 2, and 3, the faculty attendance, student attendance suspension report, and I'm moving items 4 through 8. Second for that?
Second. Wait, which one are
Any
you?
questions about it?
Carl?
Number 12,
We have 12.
Wait, we're going through 8?
4 through 8.
4 through 8.
On action items under curriculum and instruction.
Mhm.
I got a second.
Who second? I did.
Thank you.
Any questions, concerns? Roll call?
Mr. Rowland? Yes. Mr. Keough?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Radcliffe?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Beal?
Yes. Personnel, combined items 1 and 2. Number 1, recommended the superintendent, the Board of Education approve maternity child care leave, family medical leave, New Jersey family leave for employee 1075 effective on or about November 16, 2017 for the remainder of the first semester of the 17th school year. So paid using a lot of maternity sick time followed by unpaid child care leave of absence. Number 2, recommended by the superintendent, the board approve extending unpaid child care leave of absence and New Jersey family leave to employee 1340 effective September 1, 2017 through the end of the first semester of the 17-18 school year. So you can move.
So moved.
Second discussion on 1 and 2. Roll call.
Mr. Keough?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Radcliffe?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland? Yes. Mr. Beal?
Yes. the Board of Education approves staffing. Staffing for the extended school year program is indicated below, of course, as noted. Before recommended the superintendent by the superintendent, the Board of Education approve the individuals listed as substitute school bus drivers for the 17 school year as listed. Number 5, recommended by the superintendent, the Board of Education approve the appointment of the individuals listed as bus drivers for the ESY program. Total 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, 20 hours per week for 20 days as listed. Number 6, recommended by the superintendent that we approve the appointment of Dorian Detta Minute.
Wow.
You said, as a cooperative work study student working in the main office during the 17th.
I have to do payroll on that.
From 12:30 p.m. until 4 p.m. Monday through Friday at the rate of $8.44 per hour. Is also recommended that the student start work on August 28, 2017 during the hours of 8:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. prior to the start of school. Number 7, recommended by the superintendent, the board approve Alexa Sapo as a substitute teacher for the 17th school year and receive her sub-certificate. Number 8, recommended by the superintendent that we approve the individuals listed below as math RTI summer tutors beginning June 21st through August 4th at the home instructor tutoring rate of $4 an hour not to exceed 50 hours per instructor. The program is funded through the Title I grant. Number 9 is recommended by the superintendent, the board approves summer work days for the members of the child study team to be paid as respected per diem rate for each staff member as detailed at attachment B1. Days will be coordinated by the director of special education and shall not exceed a total cost of $14,000. Number 10, recommended by the superintendent, we approve summer work days for the members of the guidance department with respect per diem rate for each staff member as detailed in staff attachment B1. Days will be coordinated by the director of guidance assistant, principal for guidance and student services, and shall not exceed a total cost of $14,000. Number 11, recommended by the superintendent of the board, approve all certified teaching staff for participation in this summer curriculum mapping and RTI program development workshop rate of $450 per day, or per diem rates as detailed in attachment B1. Days will be coordinated by the director of curriculum and instruction and shall not exceed the cost of $35,000.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion on 3 through 11? All right, seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Ratcliffe?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland? Yes. Mr. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mr. Beal? Yes. Extracurricular, numbers 1 through 3. Number 1, recommended by the superintendent that the board accept the resignation of Brian Gallagher as head softball coach for the 17th school year. Number 2, recommended by the superintendent that the board accept with regret the resignation of Eric Carlson as soccer coach for the 17th school year. Number 3, recommended by the superintendent that the board recognize and approve members of the High Point High School football team attending the National Offensive Camp at Roxbury High School on June 27, 28, 29, 2017, and that is of no cost to the board.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on 1 through 3? Roll call.
Mr. Ratcliffe?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Beal?
Yes. Line items 4 and 5, recommended by the superintendent as a board approve the revisions listed to the extracurricular appointments for the 17th school year that were approved at the May 23rd, 2017 Board of Ed meeting as listed. Number 5, recommended by the superintendent of the Board of Education approve the heat acclimatization periods for the fall sports as follows, as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on 4 and 5?
Just give an explanation of why we have that number 4, where people weren't in position and now we put them in position, or we changed the numbers? Why we have the revision of extracurricular? Number 4, coaches.
Sorry.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Recent
Coaches
openings.
and the practice.
Just recent, sorry.
Go ahead.
Recent openings that just
So they
transpired.
weren't filled before, they're
Right.
newly filled, they're not changed? Okay, okay.
Is there anyone in particular that I can?
No, I was just thinking, I thought that I'd seen these before, but obviously I did not. We had a big, yes, Todd,
If you don't mind me.
please,
Okay.
Todd.
I just know that Billy Smith was originally approved at, I think, step 5,
That, okay,
when it really should have been step 2.
right, so
They
there's
are-
some
they are
changes.
revised. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I was reading the policy to answer a question. It is because Billy Smith was erroneously placed on step 5. Aaron Baker was erroneously placed on step 2, I think. And so these were
Some
needed to be
changes.
rectified.
Like
so
because,
as to-
because Ed and Lisa have been doing the project
That was,
forever, and I mean.
That's a revision to that.
That's a revision in numbers, just, okay, so there's just some things that had to be corrected from before.
Yes.
All right,
Sorry.
that's okay.
Any other discussion? All right, roll call.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland? Yes. Mr. Gino?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Ratcliffe?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes. All right, policy, line items 1 through 3. Number 1, recommended by the superintendent that the board approve the first reading of the following new policies. Unsafe school choice option in attachment E1.1, records retention in attachment E-1.2. Number 2, recommended by the superintendent that the Board of Education approve the following revised policies as listed. And number 3, recommended by the superintendent that the Board of Education grants to abolish the following policies: the independent study programs in attachment D3.1, early graduation in attachment D-3.2. Seeking a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on 1 through 3?
The abolition of the 2 is because they are redundant, as the components of those former policies have been infused into updated policies. So we still have those, the essence of what is written there are already in other policies. Based upon updated statutes and the updated policies, these become redundant.
Roll call.
Mr. Rowland? Yes. Mr. Keough?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Ratcliffe?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes. Negotiations, number 1, be it resolved the Board of Education approve $1,000 merit stipend for the 16-17 school year to members of the High Point Administration Association as listed. Seeking a motion.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion on the 1? Roll call.
Mr. Keough?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Ratcliffe?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Abstain.
Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes. Number 2, whereas the High Point Regional High School Board of Education, the Board, and High Point Administrators Association, the HPAA, are bound by a collective bargaining agreement effective from July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2017, and whereas the Board of the HPAA, through their respective negotiations committees, engaged in thorough and productive negotiations that have resulted in a proposed 2-year agreement for the period from July 1, 2017 to June 30th, 2019. The agreement, whereas the HPAA membership has recently approved and ratified the proposed agreement on June 14, 2017, whereas the board believes that the proposed agreement is in the best interest of the students and taxpayers of the High Point Regional High School District, as well as the members of the HPAA. Now therefore be it resolved that the High Point Regional High School Board of Education hereby will 1, approve and ratify the agreement between the board and the HPAA for the period of July 1, 2017 through June 30, 2019. Number 2, authorize the board president, board business administrator, board secretary, and the superintendent to execute the agreement and take all necessary and appropriate steps to carry out this action. The board attachment 1. Seeking motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Mr. Keough?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Ratcliffe?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Abstain.
Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes. I'd just like to say thank you, John. It was very productive. I can't tell you the professionalism that you and Eric conducted yourself with during that negotiation. It's actually a pleasure.
Thank you, appreciate it. Same.
I'd like to second that, and I've been in many negotiations through my life, and you were so professional, I didn't realize how much you were taking us for. You're a credit to the association.
Buildings and grounds.
There are no buildings and grounds at this time, but there's a long, long list that's gonna get taken care of this summer. We sat through a great meeting of all the things that are gonna happen, so it's gonna be awesome.
Thank you for the update, Mr. Raynor, because
Yes,
I don't
yes.
think we talked about the scoreboard at all during our committee.
Right.
So I appreciate that.
No problem.
Finance, Mr. Rowland.
All right. How
would like to move items 1 through 12. 1 is reported Board Secretary, Business Administrator, attachment G1. Item 2 is report of the Treasurer for June 2017, attachment G2. Item 3 is report of transfers for the month of June. Item 4 is a list of bills and payments for attachment G4. Item 5 is a list of accounts in attachment G5. Item 6 is the approval of the tax schedule for 2017-18 school year. Item 7 is the renewal of a service contract with Water Management Services as listed. Item 8 is tuition contracts as listed. Item 9 is an agreement between Ameriflex and High Point to provide COBRA administration for the 17-18 school year. Item 10 is recommended that the board approve the following resolution excusing Lakeland, Andover, and Willow Glen Academy for the participation in the state-free reduced lunch program. Item 11 is recommended that the board approve the Health and Environmental Services Agreement with the Educational Services Commission, Morris County, for the 17-18 school year, at a cost of $7,132. And item 12 is recommended that the board approve the interlocal service agreement as listed. And did I say 12 or 13? 12, that's it. Second.
Any discussion on this vote?
I just think it should be noted that we're sharing services in item 12, and that's something we're working towards as much as we can, the community, so that's a good thing.
We continue to discuss our assertive efforts to share services with school districts and with other local municipalities so as to ease the tax burden on the community and to demonstrate fiscal responsibility and the sharing of resources that are the community's resources, because it has been very effective so far. They have resources that we do not. We have some that they do not. It has been an excellent relationship so far, and I would like to say that the Wantage mayor and administrative assistant have been nothing but positive in our interactions with them. It is my hope that other municipalities and other school districts in our sending areas will be similarly inclined in the future as we continue to request similar shared services.
Roll call. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Radcliffe?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Mr. Keel?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Now let's move items 13 and 14. Item 13 is be it resolved that the board approves the following resolution for monies into the capital reserve at the end of the 2016-17 school year. I will skip the next 3. And on the next page where it says, whereas the High Point Regional Board of Education has determined that the amount not to exceed $550,000 is available for such purposes of the transfer. Now therefore be it resolved by the High Point Regional Board of Education that it hereby authorizes the school district's business administrator to make this transfer consistent with all applicable laws and regulations. And item 14 is just a list of the food service prices in attachment G7. A second.
Second. Any discussion? 13, 14? Roll call.
Mr. Radcliffe?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Mr. Keel?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes. Transportation, Mr. Miller.
I guess that's the second half of the agenda
Yeah, move the entire section, please.
I'll make it as quick as possible. So, I would like to move items,
Did we do number 14?
Yes.
Yes.
We did, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the food service.
I'd like to move items under transportation number 1 through 11. Number 1, it's recommended by the superintendent the board approves the following joint transportation agreements for the 2016-17 school year as listed. Number 2, it is recommended by the superintendent that the board approves the following student transportation contract transfer agreements for the 16-17 school year as listed. Item 3, it is recommended by the superintendent that the board approves the following quoted contracts for trips for the 2016-17 school year as listed. Item number 4, it is recommended by the superintendent that the board approve the following completed bus evacuation drills for the 2016-17 school year as listed. Number 5, it is recommended by the superintendent that the board approve the following quoted contracts for transportation of special needs students for the 2017-18 ESY program as listed. Item number 6, it is recommended by the superintendent that the board approves the following parental contract with the parent of student ID 1617005 for the 2017-18 ESY program as listed. Number 7 is recommended by the superintendent the board approves the following parental contract with the parent of student ID 2002630 for the 2017-18 ESY program as listed. And item number 8 is recommended by the superintendent the board approves the following joint transportation agreement for the 2017-18 ESY program as listed. Item number 9, it is recommended by the superintendent that the board approves the following joint transportation agreements for the 2017-18 school year as listed. Item number 10, it is recommended by the superintendent that the board approves the following renewal contract for the transportation of students to and from school for the 2017-18 school year as listed. And item number 11, it is recommended by the superintendent that the board approves the following renewal contract for transportation of students to and from school-related activities for the 2017-18 school year.
Second.
Discussion.
Well done.
Roll call.
Mr. Rowland.
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Ranford.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Bealey.
Yes.
Okay, next I'd like to move items 12 and 13. It is recommended by the superintendent the board approves the cleaning of the inside of the district buses by Teresa Perez and June Williams at $120 for each 54-passenger bus and $100 for each 31-passenger bus. And item number 13, it is recommended by the superintendent the board approves the cleaning of the outside of the district school buses at the Frankfurt Car Wash by Teresa Perez and June Williams to be split at $20 for each vehicle for travel time to and from the facility and the time to self-wash each vehicle. Looking for a second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Kehoe.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Ranford.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Rowland.
Yes.
Mr. Bealey.
Yes.
Okay, lastly, I'd like to move transportation items number 14 through 19. Number 14 is recommended by the superintendent. The board approves a joint transportation agreement between High Point Regional and Walker Valley Regional for the 2017-18 school year for a 5% administrative fee. Number 15 is recommended by the superintendent. The board approves a joint transportation agreement between High Point Regional School and Lafayette Township Elementary School for transportation services for the 2017-18 school year with a 5% administration fee. Number 16 is recommended by the superintendent. The board approve a joint transportation agreement between High Point Regional and Sussex Wantage Regional for anticipated transportation services for the 2017-18 school year with a 5% administrative fee. Number 17 is recommended by the superintendent. The board approves a joint transportation agreement between High Point Regional and Frankfurt Township Elementary School for anticipated transportation services for the 2017-18 school year with a 5% administrative fee. Item number 18, it is recommended by the superintendent that the board approves the following student transportation contract transfer agreements for the 2016-17 school year as listed. And finally, item number 19, it is recommended by the superintendent that the board approves the following student transportation contract transfer agreements for the 2016-17 school year as listed. Need for a second.
Does everyone know that Dunn's has been taken over by Kraft School Bus? That's what this number 19 is. They've been, Mr. Dunn retired, I think, and sold.
Yes.
Sold it?
To a Pennsylvania company. June has met with the new company, and as far as we're all hoping, it will be seamless. There are other schools in the county that will also
Yeah, that's a big bus contract.
It's a big company that's privately owned and been around for a long time.
Hopefully close by Pennsylvania.
I believe so, Poconos.
Not Pittsburgh.
Right.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Kehoe? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Ancliffe?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Mr. Beely?
Yes. Okay, move on to correspondence. Ginny's House would like to express its gratitude to High Point Regional High School for the donation collected during our participation in the Breast Month Day attachment 13. Miscellaneous.
Do you want to mention the fact that the Montague superintendent sent us some
Yes, I
letters?
just received today 2 letters from the Montague superintendent. First was thanking the High Point Board of Education superintendent for the bus that we provided since January 3rd, that we offered on October 16th of 2016, that the High Point Board of Education provided free of charge so as to ease the sufferings of the Montague students and community when the first student could not provide the second bus that was contracted by the Montague Board of Ed. And we were the ones, the High Point Board of Education were the ones who provided that bus free of charge so as to further inculcate the Montague community and students into our culture so that they know that we welcome them as a part of who we are now. And that was very important that we received that from the Montague interim superintendent.
What was the second one?
The second one was thanking us that Lisa Frisbee, our guidance counselor, went down to their board meeting stating how exceptionally well received the transition is for our Montague students and their families, and how appreciative those people have been in their communication with our guidance personnel and our staff, and how thankful they are to be able to attend High Point. We don't hear those things enough, and she took it upon herself to go to the Montague board meeting, and the Montague interim superintendent provided said letters.
Good.
The interim superintendent from Montague.
And thanks to Lisa too, that was a good
An
thing that she
exceptional
did.
job
It was
that
a
she
very
took
good
upon
thing.
herself to go and speak about our relationship with Montague of her own volition. It's very impressive.
Miscellaneous. Anybody?
No, but guess what? I was talking the next one. Oh, no.
You want to work
No,
all the
no,
time?
no.
You get up there?
No.
All right. Public comments? Unless one of you would like to stand up. On-committee board member reports and comments.
Yes,
Abby.
I just want to say that I attended the final Ed Services Commission meeting on June, whatever it was, and I got us out of that. But I made it very clear, we are still members, but we are not providing a person to sit on the board of directors. And it was a little bit awkward to say that, but then all of a sudden I realized that there were other people there that said, well, can I get out of it? I mean, it was just, it was kind of interesting. And then I commended the man who is the president of that board. He does a fabulous job, Gil. He does a fabulous job, and I commended him. No. Gil, and I shouldn't have said that because I can't remember his last name, but look it up on the internet because he's very good at that. So we're out, guys, we're out.
Thank you for your commitment to
Oh.
the entities.
Yes, you're welcome.
I'd like to make one other comment. I'd be remiss, I didn't mention it before. Mr. Talabay, you and your staff and the whole school did a phenomenal job yesterday. The graduation is a very important point. You did it not only the student lives, but all the parents. It was really well done, and you made it a great day for the student, all the graduates and their families.
Thank you.
Other business? Anybody? Anything? Nothing?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?